morning. Today is Sunday, March 23rd, and you are watching the Viewscreen. I am one of your hosts, Amy Nelson.
And I'm your other host, Kelvin Wood. And the Viewscreen is your weekly Star Trek magazine show. We're streaming live via YouTube, and we've got news, special guests, special features, and we're sending out lots of love to our Star Trek family all around the world.
We are. And Kelvin, how are you doing this week?
I'm really well. I had some friends visit yesterday from over in Yorkshire. And they came to stay over last night. So we went out for dinner and a drag show and a few drinks. So I'm quite caked in makeup at the moment because I'm a little worse for wear, even though it's now 4 p.m. here in Manchester. The hangover is still present. But
yeah, boy, then that was a fun time.
Yeah, I think your week was probably a little bit more wholesome. I'm quite eager to hear all about that a little later, Amy.
Well, can we talk about it now?
Why not?
Okay. Well, you guys, if you tuned in last week, I did mention that I would be spending the week with the one and only Rick Sternbach. Super, super excited. So I just wanted to give a little rundown of the week and the fun that I've had. And I put together a little slideshow. Now, the reason why I got to go was this IAAA, International Association of Astronomical Artists. And Rick started this little group that has just exploded. And every year they go on a week-long trip specifically to create art and give them ideas of, this landscape might be really good for an alien planet. Or what if we put some astronomical in the sky? So they are literally, like you can see that picture if you are tuning in on YouTube. They pack up their paints and their charcoals and their pencils and go set up camp and draw within like 30 minutes. I mean, within an hour, they're like, this is a beautiful piece of art within that amount of time. It's bizarro. I absolutely had a wonderful time.
So how many people were there?
So this was a group of about 10 people.
Yeah.
My age and older. So, yes. And there were a few, maybe 2 younger than me, but I think we were the young ones there. Now, so yes, I was hiking all week with Mr. Rick Sternbach. In case you aren't familiar, he is an artistic designer, production designer who worked on Star Trek, Next Generation, Deep Space Nine, and Voyager. He's most well known for creating and designing the Voyager starship. So we have him to thank. The tricorder, the hand phasers, that was all designed by him. He also, this is little tidbit for Christos, he designed the Beverly's ghost lamp. He was telling me stories all week, and I am going to record and recount some of those for our Patreon members for It's Green. So stay tuned for that. I will be sharing some little tidbit of Best of Both Worlds, which blew me away, and his cold calling to Paramount Studios to get a job. Unbelievable. So I'm excited to share those to our Patreon members. Oh, yes. Peter says, very interesting about the IAAA, fan of space art from Chelsea Bonistel and the golden age of sci-fi movies. Well, check them out. They're always looking for new members. So we also went to a sand dunes, and my friend Daniel, who was on last season, right? The model making, Dan. Yeah. He brought his ham radio, and so we were having fun out in the desert. And if you see the guy with the lovely head covered with a towel, so we didn't get sunburned, that is Jeff, and he works on The Expanse, or he did work on The Expanse.
Brilliant. I was going to ask, so it wasn't just Star Trek related kind of shooting, it was for all kinds of shows.
Yeah, it's not, you don't even have to have worked on a show. This is just if you are interested in art, in space art. And it was
Right.
very interesting because they said that was a specific type of art. They are like, yeah, we're space artists. So I learned something new.
And do you think we'll be seeing any of this on season 4 of Strange New Worlds, or maybe even season 5 of Starfleet Academy?
I don't know if anyone is associated. They did not reveal to me if they were on any current Star Trek. Just a random sighting on the sand dunes was this ostrich. There were actually 2 ostriches, very friendly. They obviously were used to humans. Ostriches are not considered around our place, but I guess there's ostrich farms, and these 2 were escaped, and they were very friendly. They kept pecking at me. It was a weird experience.
I find that terrifying.
Yes. And up in that area, Las Vegas, north of Las Vegas is Area 51, huge, and they lean into it big time. It was just quite fun, lots of aliens. And I did buy a little sticker that said, "Beam me up, Scotty, Area 51." So they lean into all types of aliens. And I did get to go with Dan, again, the model maker, and we went and saw Penn and Teller. And they had us come up to the stage. It's a very interactive show, and I signed not my name, I signed Deanna Troy's name. And at the end, they opened it up, and they had inside a scroll that was the exact words for one of the tricks that they used. Unbelievable. But why I bring this up is because every time we're at STLV, Penn and Teller Theater is closed. And we always walk by, oh, that's where the theater is. I finally got to go there. So that was pretty cool.
So is it still at the Rio then?
Yeah, Penn and Teller at the Rio. Yeah.
Right.
And just a random little cute little rock that reminded me of a little animal there. Oh, and look, here's Jeff. Hey, he's the one who worked on The Expanse. Well, so that was my spring break week-long adventure. So thank you for indulging me and letting me share.
That was wonderful, Amy. I don't have any slideshows of my crazy night out in Manchester, but I'm not sure they'd be too suitable to show if I did. But maybe head over to my Instagram. You might see some pictures there.
Yes, your beautiful cheers.
That's
with
it.
Your cocktails, yes.
Brilliant.
Well, thank you to all of you watching live. We're excited to have you pop in on the chat. We'd love to include your comments through this show.
Absolutely. And for anyone who is listening to us on the audio podcast as a download later in this week, hello to you guys too. For those of you who are catching us on YouTube after we've gone live, make sure that you hit the like, subscribe, and alert notifications so that you never miss an episode of the Viewscreen, because we've got a few more left in this season's run.
We do. And please stay tuned to the end for our special Season 3 Com Badge giveaway.
Brilliant.
So what do we have for today's show? We've got Kristin here giving us the news. Hi, Kristin.
Hello.
Good morning. We also have, we're introducing, Tyler is with us today. Hi, Tyler.
Hey, how are you?
And we have with us Chris Smith, who I'm very excited to introduce to the Viewscreen.
How you doing?
Hey, Chris.
Oh, what a fun show. Shall we begin?
Absolutely. Let's head over to the newsroom.
Hey, Kristin.
Hello and good morning. And well, technically morning, afternoon, evening. We are scattered across the time zones.
Yeah,
in what
we've
is
got
now
a lot today.
And we officially have spring in the northern hemisphere. So blessed spring to everybody. Life is returning. And for those in our southern hemisphere, happy fall. getting ready to move into your cool weather, your time of rest. Very excited for everybody. So, yes.
It's spring by every definition now, isn't it? Because we've had the meteorological and now the astrological start of spring. So
yeah, it's good. I'm starting to see little blossoms out. Everything's starting to get a little bit green. It's nice and rainy here today. So it's been a long winter. This was a particularly arduous downtime. So I'm excited for some new life and what that's going to mean. So, yes.
Well, JJ is really appreciating that sweater that you got there. Lovely.
Thank you, JJ. It's from Her Universe. Comes in a whole bunch of sizes. This was a large. I'm hoping it was just a women's large, because if a men's large fits me like this, that doesn't do much for my self-esteem. So, but it's very cuddly and warm this morning because I did wake up a little bit behind time. So I'm still half asleep.
Well, you take a big gulp of that coffee and then you tell us what you've got for us today.
I sure will. First, we have a really exciting episode birthday today. So season 1, again, of the original series, episode 26. Happy birthday to Aaron of Mercy, which was the first appearance ever of the Klingons. So today is the anniversary of Klingons being in Star Trek, and that is amazing because we all know what an important role they play in the entirety of the story and how they really got fleshed out in TNG. I love how TNG ran with the lore of this species. And then here pictured, of course, we have Kor. And so one of the most famous Klingons, who, of course, we know best probably from the reprised role in DS9. So
happy birthday, Klingons.
Happy birthday, Klingons.
Now, was this the same Kor that showed up in Strange New World with the Spock's fiance counseling? Is that the same? No, never mind.
No.
It wouldn't be the same actor.
No, but I mean character, Kor.
Well, if it's, I'm going to have to look into that because I do believe that Kor is a very famous Klingon within the Empire. So if they say he's Kor the Klingon or of the Klingon Empire, I can't see them introducing a new Kor.
Which episode was it, Amy? You've got my continuity alarm going off.
Okay, so help me out. So Spock's T'Pring, right?
Yeah.
And the person who I thought there was a. Oh no! Okay, who was it that didn't want to be counseled? Oh, it was some other Vulcan that didn't want to be counseled, and then Nurse Chapel went down. It's in the exchange, the swap.
Yeah, was it the Vulcan who had rejected logic?
Never. Okay, wrong. So
we'll edit that out, Amy. It's fine.
Thank you.
I actually love that by your definition and your thought pattern. Someone who doesn't want to be counseled is a Klingon. I was like, oh.
Can you imagine counseling a Klingon?
And if anyone could do it, T'Pring could do it.
I was going to say, if anyone could do it, you could do it.
Oh.
But I'm assuming the session would have to start with a good scoop of some blood wine out of a barrel.
Yes.
Otherwise, yeah. But of course, it's John Colicos who played Kor in both the original series and Deep Space Nine. So he was such an important role in this franchise
I watched,
and building this character.
Final episode this week in season 7.
Yes, it would have been glorious. It would have been glorious indeed. So,
we have a little bit of trivia from.
Kor was known on the original series for an episode 2.
Yeah. Oh, so he was on the animated series.
Yeah.
But we got James Doohan to do the voice. That's a fabulous piece of trivia.
I love
Thanks,
that.
William.
I've never watched that animated series.
Hmm.
Maybe I should give it a shot.
If you want to see your Klingons in pink, I suggest you go and watch the animated series. They were like pink tabards. Very, very strange. I think I've seen someone cosplay that.
You know, my favorite cosplays are when they're just the most random, obscure references. But anyway, let's move on to the meme of the week. So a lot of people give Star Trek V, The Final Frontier, a lot of flack. I love it. So this is a play on the scene, of course, where Scotty's about to break them out and they're trying to interpret the Morse code. But instead of Scotty, they get the Kool-Aid Man. Oh, yeah. So I just thought this was quirky and funny and a really good callback to what I think is actually an enjoyable movie. And I will debate that with anybody.
Very nice.
And so let's moving on into some actual news. So Frakes has given some very interesting updates on what we can expect from Starfleet Academy. Except for what we're all waiting for, release dates.
Release date, please.
For either this or for Strange New Worlds. Still nothing. And we're dying over here. But anyway, Frakes was at a Comic-Con recently, and he said, it's fabulous. The sets are great. The scripts they're funny. And I love it when humor is brought into Trek. I think Trek handles humor really well, really tastefully. And, some of my favorite moments, like with, little life forms, where are you from Data, and Q bringing his humor in, and all those. They bring a certain je ne sais quoi to Trek. So I enjoy that they're going to bring that into Academy. I think that's one reason why Strange New Worlds landed so well with a lot of people, is they handle their humor really well. He said, expect massive sets, some of the biggest sets that have ever been used on a Trek show before. Ooh. So obviously there is some financial backing being thrown at this if it's one of the biggest sets ever. So and that's just making me even more anxious now to see it. He said there will be a special starship for this as well. He said even though it's taking place on Earth, it's still Star Trek. So there will still be a starship. And there will be episodes directed by both Frakes and Kurtzman. So
I'm excited for that. Alex Kurtzman doesn't normally direct.
Yep. So I'm really excited for, if Frakes is coming in and saying we should be excited, we should be excited. If we're going to trust someone, let's trust him. He's been a real, steward of this franchise for 30 some odd years now, right? I think he knows. So anyway, thank you, Jonathan, for giving such a good update and giving us something to look forward to whenever that might be. I think the rumor is that it will be late 2025, early 26. But then all that means to me is that, okay, so Strange New Worlds will be coming out mid 2025.
I mean, some would argue we are mid 2025.
Well, we're like a quarter of the way through the year now already, which is scary. Yeah, time is moving somehow warp speed and also really slow. But anyway, so a little bit more news on Starfleet Academy. It's already been renewed for season 2.
Oh, exciting.
Yes.
Yeah.
So obviously the early renewal shows faith in season 1. So maybe the testing that has happened, the reception they received so far has been positive enough that it's already been renewed. So we're seeing now early renewals for both Starfleet Academy and Strange New Worlds for the next season before the previous season is even released. So I'm hoping that they're not overshooting and thinking it's a lot better than it is, and that we're going to see this and it's just going to blow us all away.
It's so exciting how these renewals come about, because you didn't know back in the day.
No, it just would
Yeah.
show up on your TV in September, and you're like, what happened?
I know, yeah.
You better read the entirety of your TV guide, not just the schedule. You got to
Right.
read the articles. They'll tell you what's happening. But no, this was plastered all over the social media of the cast, and they're all excited to go back and reprieve their roles. And let's bring it on. I'm ready. I'm ready for new content, and I love them being series, because then it gives us something to look forward to every week.
Yes.
Yes.
Also, as well, I don't think I've seen that official logo anywhere before, because that's the Starfleet Academy logo that you tend to see on T-shirts and things that have been printed. So if that's what they're using, I love that.
This is just what was showing up on all the websites that I was reading through. I was looking to see if I could find the official logo, but when you Google official logo for Starfleet Academy, it defaults to the one that we know with the triangle and actually like the patch that the students wear on their uniforms. So wrong Starfleet Academy, but that's okay. So this is just what was. Well, this is the official Paramount Plus announcement of the renewal. So maybe it is.
Maybe that is a spoiler in itself.
Maybe. And that's okay. It's a light spoiler. I can handle that. I just want to know what Paul Giamatti's going to do, because I freaking love him. He loves Star Trek so much, and they have cast him as the villain.
Oh, yeah.
So much opportunity for amazing storylines there. So anyway, we've got more to look forward to. We just need these seasons to come out. Next on today's news, we have, so IDW has been busy this week. They have 4 months coming up of consistent new releases and new content for those who are wanting to indulge in your graphic novel intake. So in June, they are wrapping up their Omega series, and it ties into the Nemesis film at the end. So that is really exciting. This is 2 years of storytelling with this series. And again, forgive me, this may not be the final cover for the last one. Every time I was looking up, Star Trek Omega IDW, there were just a ton of covers. And I could not quite put in order which was which, but this was my favorite because it had so many of my favorite characters on it. So I used it. And I need to actually get these. I have not read the Omega series. It looks really interesting. And I'm wondering if it is carrying on from the story that was told on Voyager with Janeway and Seven of Nine, and they're needing to destroy the Omega. So I want to know if so now are we bringing Voyager, tying it in with next gen characters to tie it into a next gen movie with Nemesis? So that's kind of interesting how it's all being tied together. But I think the story I am most looking forward to is IDW's newest graphic novel that will be coming out in July, and that's up next, which is, drum roll, Red Shirts. There is an entire graphic novel series coming out to pay homage to one of our favorite, yet most unlucky group of people on the Enterprise. So in July, Star Trek Red Shirts will be coming out, 5-issue miniseries. The people that they've brought on to do the writing are, again, part of the writing crew that have been putting out a lot of this content. So they're keeping things really in-house. So I'm excited for the quality of these stories. So I am so excited to see Red Shirt, to see what comes out of this. Because
this has got you all over it, Kristin.
Really
it's Star Trek and horror.
Right?
Done. So I'm bless their souls. They've just been cannon fodder for 60 some odd years. So let's see what happens next. So that's July. So now we've gone June and July, and then in August, we get a look into A Strange New Worlds graphic novel. So pulling this into the written world quite early on in the series run. So this will again be a 5-issue mini series with Robbie Thompson, who is working on the 4th season of the series, writing it as well as writing the graphic novel. So again, they're really keeping the writers consistent, which helps keep storylines consistent and canon consistent and timelines. So Kelvin, I know that this is like, when I saw that, I'm thinking this is perfect for some people who need that. They need their fact checks going on. So this, I love it. This looks really cool. I'm excited to see what stories they're going to be telling and how they're going to be pulling out, because they don't have a ton of episodes to choose from. So I'm excited to see what they pull in maybe from other series. So that's August. And then finally in September, in honor of the 30th anniversary of Voyager, they are releasing a 5-issue miniseries carrying on from Homecoming. Because I think so many people, again, were like, that's how Voyager ends. After all that, they just have some fireworks and they float home. And it's like, well, what happened?
I'm curious. I'm curious if this has got any similarities to the novel, which is basically what happened when Voyager gets home, also called Homecoming.
Exactly.
So I wonder if that's a coincidence or not.
I have a feeling it's not a coincidence. That's just what I'm thinking. I'm hoping that what they do is they take this series and maybe they dive a little bit more into some of the stories in the Homecoming book. And then what was the sequel to Homecoming?
Farther Shore.
Farther Shore. Yeah. I'm like, I know it has something to do with the shore. So both of those were phenomenal, but I'm excited to see this take on it and what they do. So, and then Tilly and Susan Bridges will be doing the writing for this, who consulted on Prodigy season 2.
So again, keeping it in-house, trying to keep the timeline and canon all contained.
And I think this also, I know we've all seen it, when people who are in charge of Trek, who know the series, they know the storylines, the characters, the species, the passion is there, the content just has better quality. So I appreciate this. It's keeping it all in the family.
Yes.
So that keeps us really busy through the next few months with some reading.
Yes, while we're waiting for new content to come out.
I'm hoping by September we have a new series. You know what? Because reality isn't that great right now. We need something to take us out of the everyday. Yeah.
We do.
And I think, is that it?
Brilliant.
I think that might be.
Yeah.
Is it?
It's the end.
Oh,
I don't have another slide.
Okay. I just wasn't sure. I thought I had something else in. I must have switched orders. Anyway, so that's the news for this week. So quite a bit to look forward to, and I am excited to see how this all turns out.
Yeah, well, let's bring in Tyler and Chris and see what they have to say about all the news that's been coming on. Tyler, anything you want to talk about or excited for?
Something that I'm really excited for as far as Starfleet Academy goes is the fact that Tawny Newsome is writing scripts. And I think that's where her strongest skills are in writing, because she's Second City trained. She's great at improv, she's great at comedy, like she's just a very funny person. So I'm really pumped to see what she comes up with. Like that one for me is like, that's wonderful. And of course, Two Take Frakes directing, like you can't go wrong.
No.
Exactly.
What about yourself, Chris? Anything in the news pique your interest?
That Homecoming announcement, like that book, that novel that came out many years ago, that's one of my favorite Star Trek books. So if they dive into that, I'm looking forward to see that in visualization if they go that route. So
yes, absolutely.
Brilliant.
Good.
Well, thank you, Kristin, for that was a lot of news this week. Loads of content for us. You're spoiling us.
I'm excited to actually, because it's been the last little bit has been really hard to try and find news because so much stuff is like pending. And so when something actually comes out, I'm like, let's dive right into all of this. So it's been good.
Well,
brilliant.
I'm excited.
Thank you for sharing that with us, and we'll get you back on a little bit later.
Sounds good.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
Next, I'm very excited. This has been in the works since last August at STLV. I have been admiring Chris from afar. He comes to STLV quite a bit. I mean, we will ask how many times. He's always in the best cosplay, nice fitting, perfect in every way. Screen quality, I feel. And thanks to this show, if you know me, I get very tongue-tied around cool, awesome people. And Chris is one of them. And I was like, okay, I can just do this. And I went up and talked to him at the pool party. So it was casual, and invited him to come on the Viewscreen and share his amazing talent with us. So I would like to bring in Chris Smith to the Viewscreen. Hi, Chris.
Hey, how you guys doing?
Good. Thank you so much for agreeing to come on the show. And I'm curious, like, how long have you been attending STLV?
My first one was back in 2007.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, I was only, I think 21 years old when I went. So I'm 40 this year. So it's been quite a journey, but I go back every year as much as I can. So I thoroughly enjoy the camaraderie and the friendships I've fostered over the years. And I just love that whole aspect of it.
Yeah. Well, for me, I mean, I've just admired from afar, but I'm like, it's not a Star Trek convention unless I see you in your amazing cosplay. So really a big admirer of all of your work.
Yeah.
So what do you have for us today?
All right. So this is not my personal costume. I mean, I made this jumpsuit. This was for the Otoy unification short by Roddenberry Archives. They commissioned me over a year ago to make a jumpsuit for this character, which I guess appeared in Discovery, and they reprised their role in this little short. And I guess this is kind of like where I've come so far, so that these companies actually commissioned me to make a screen accurate replica so that they can put it on display in that capacity. So that's more of the bookend of the where I'm at now. But yeah, that's just a lot of years of learning and getting better at making these costumes. And some people noticed and they reached out to me, and I've now I have a screen used thing that I made that, you know, obviously it's not official, but it's official enough for me. So
Absolutely.
What an honor. What an honor. Obviously, you make your cosplay for yourself and you do commissions, I'm sure, privately as well. But for the actual producers of shows and content to come and ask you for one, that, you know, there is no higher honor, I imagine.
Yeah, that was quite the one of those. I'm not sure if I don't feel I'm good enough, or it's one of those. I forget what the phrase is. It's the the words lost me. But I just I don't think I'm at that level, but apparently other people do. So
yes, very good.
Well, we're here today to tell you you are. we said off before, Amy and I, when we drew up kind of regular segments for the Viewscreen and the format of the show, we were saying we want cosplayers, we want like a fashion item, and your name came straight to the top of the list. So like, we need to get Chris on because your work is so amazing.
Yeah.
Yeah, I didn't my first 5 years of going to Vegas, I didn't even wear a costume. I didn't even think of, you know, putting anything on or even making anything. And it's just one of those things that I knew I had the ability to, and then I wanted to layer on my experience with, like, I still went for the friends, but how can I enhance that experience with, if I make costumes or wear costumes, and it just gives that extra level of connectivity to people and stuff to bond over, I guess. So.
Yeah. All right. Let's see some more.
All right. So this one was it's the Enterprise EVA spacesuit, which is shown in quite a few episodes of Star Trek Enterprise. And when I first started to tackle this one, it was one of those, I didn't even think I could do it. It was beyond my skill set, but I kind of pushed through that, and it took a lot of research and just months and months of planning and all that kind of stuff, and learning new skills on top of that. And after a while, I finally got it across the line, and I haven't seen anyone else make this one. I'm actually looking forward to the day I see someone, and we'll have something to converse over and share our tips and tricks. But and then there's the picture of me with the Enterprise cast. They had never seen it either, and Dominic's line to me was, "Never been done, mate." And he kept shouting that to me, and so I actually had him sign this photo, and he wrote the quote, "Never been done." So I found that was kind of a gratifying moment for me, and I love Enterprise. It's probably one of my favorite ones currently. Obviously, my favorite shows kind of ebb and flow over the years, but this one just has that nostalgia. Plus, I love the stories and the characters in it.
Right. JJ in the chat is asking, is that part of the uniform 3D printed?
No, it's fabric construction, and then the chest piece, that's I used EVA foam to make that, in the helmet, and it's like metal rings for the top, and that's yeah.
Do you ever use any kind of 3D printing in any of your design work in recent years?
I have not. It's not that I don't see the usefulness of it. It's just I don't have the bandwidth at the moment to learn that new skill, because I know what it entails, because it's not just you buy it and you click print. You have to, get the right program, get the right printer, test runs and all this kind of stuff, and sanding and all that kind of stuff. And I just haven't had that time and energy to do that. But one day, I want to incorporate that into my builds. But for now, it's just I just build the old school way, if you will.
Cool.
William in the chat is asking, have you done the Tholian Web spacesuit yet?
I have not done that one. That's on my radar. Currently, I'm going to be redoing my First Contact spacesuit from Star Trek First Contact. I'm going to film that process and put it to my YouTube channel. But the Tholian Web one from TOS, it's on the list. I do want to make that.
Next.
So this is my Borg cosplay. The one on the left there, I want to say that's either the first or second ever costume cosplay that I did. The partially assimilated Borg. That was done in the vein of, I didn't want to do a full Borg because I didn't feel I had the skills to do it. So I was like, let me just make a partial suit and put a uniform underneath and go that route. And then over the years, I got more confident in my build and aesthetics. So on the right is the newest version of the Borg, and I did work to Vegas this past year, but I'm not entering a contest anymore. But it's fun. It's a fan favorite. Even though the Borg is that one from the left is 2013, so it's like 12 years old, and it's still the same Borg. Most of those pieces are still there. It's just I've added to it and reorganized things. But it's a fan favorite. People love it, and I'm there for all the pictures. And if they enjoy it, I'm happy to bring it.
Yeah, and this one, if you go next, you are, I'm sure, entered a lot in the costume contest at STLV.
Yeah. So this one was in 2019. I did win the expert level. I think they called it the captain's. I won that with the Borg with Michael Westmore on the judging panel, which that for me that's all I need. And
Yeah.
but my own personal perspective is I already won with that costume in Vegas, so I'm not going to ever enter that thing again. So
Right.
but I'll bring it to walk around the halls and have pictures and whatnot with it. So
Is that your Saturday costume for the main day?
yeah.
And next.
And then these this is from Vegas this past year. This is my EVA suit, which like I said, I'll be rebuilding. And the one I'm wearing here, I'll have my friend wear that one. So we'll have two. The goal is to have 2 first contact people walking around Vegas this year.
Nice.
And then I make the TNG era jumpsuits and scants. The one on the left is my friend who commissioned me to make one. I have one for myself. I don't normally wear them that often, but obviously to do trial runs and tests, so I have to make them for me. So I thought it would be fun to wear it with my friend, and we walk around the convention. And I don't know if you guys have noticed that the more you have of one type of costume, the more excitement it draws, if that makes any sense. Like one person is scant, okay, that's cool. 2 people, 3 people, and then it just the more you have, the more like crowds just seem to gravitate towards it. So
You're amongst scant lovers.
Yes.
Amy and I, we're very partial to wearing a TNG scant.
Yeah. So I mean, if there's a group or whatever, I'll bring one out and do it. But I love.
We'll have to organize Scant Day because Kelvin, you're going to be at STLV. I will, and Chris, I'm sure you're going to be at this year's STLV.
I will be. Yeah.
All right. We'll have to coordinate Scant Day. All right. Next.
All right. So here's a side by side of kind of my progression. So the one on the left, that's the first ever jumpsuit I made from scratch. That's what I learned on making one of these jumpsuits. It's kind of an expert level of construction, which I don't recommend you going into that deep right away. But that's the one I made back in 2017, and then this one I made a couple of years ago. I found the correct color fabric and a better pattern, and my skills got better, and everything from there is just evolved.
So yeah, talking about finding the materials, like if you find something, like you said, the correct color, like do you buy just enough or do you buy a lot?
Well, when it comes to some of this stuff, it depends on where you find it. Sometimes the amount available is actually not as much as you would want. So I have backups just in case. But some of the stuff is really pricey, so I can't have too much on hand because it's just it's a lot of money. Like my green wraparound that you'll probably see in a minute or so. I only have enough to make another one, and after that, I have no source. I asked the source. They said they don't have any more. They're not going to be making any for a while. So it's one of those you have to, once you find it, get what you can and hold on to it, I guess.
Next.
Yeah, here's a bit of my my build process, cutting out the pieces, and I think it's kind of funny that when I'm wearing like the jumpsuits and whatever, I don't get asked about making it because a lot of people assume I didn't make it.
Right.
Only the spacesuits of the Borg they'll ask. They'll just assume I made that because it just doesn't look, kind of too polished, if you will. But making one of these is actually a more technically challenging thing than a spacesuit because if you mess it up, you'll see glaring issues in fit and finish and all that kind of stuff. So
yeah, your fit I think is spot on because you wouldn't be able to get that just off a shelf or, online buyer. Like you make it fit to you. I love it. The fit is always just spot on.
And even if you don't have the best material or quality, fit is your number one go-to to make your whatever costume you have to make it look as good as you can. Obviously, if you stack that with the better materials, the thicker materials, it makes it look even better. But I recommend anybody who even has a regular costume that they bought in the store just to get it tailored or learn how to tailor it themselves, and it'll give that that better polished look, like shorter sleeves, and just make sure everything is fit to that.
Yeah. I noticed on the TNG season 1, season 2 jumpsuit though, one of the details that you really go to is the thickness of the sleeve, because a lot of the ones you can buy from the internet providers, they're quite baggy, as you said. They're certainly not tailored, but that is one of the main differences that I notice on the quality, the way it fits on the arm.
Yeah, and also and then the drape of the material as well. But yes, if you tailor it to fit you in a respectable manner, it just gives that silhouette that you're usually going for, that people see a while away. So it doesn't look like it's just like a pajama pants that you bought at the store. So here, I like to, after I make the costume, I was like, how can I, enhance the experience of the making process, if you will. So when I go travel, I'll bring one of my costumes with me and take pictures in front of these, iconic monuments around the world when I'm traveling. And I'll walk around the city with them too. And it's always gotten positive reaction. I've never had any disparaging, comments, and people around the world. I think ubiquitously love Star Trek, so it actually brings a lot of smiles to people's faces, and a lot of times they'll ask me at this convention, and in this case, I usually go, no, I'm just my Sunday outfit here.
Yeah, you were in London recently, weren't you? I saw you posing with Big Ben.
Yeah, I was in London in October. Yes, I'm going to be back in Paris a little over a week from now. So
nice.
And you, was it the London trip, or were you in New York City recently also?
Yeah, I was in New York City. It's only like a 60-minute train ride down. So I go every weekend if I'm bored. I'll just go and hang out in the city. And,
you did. I was following your picture. It's absolutely wonderful. And yeah, you're wearing your cosplay. I'm like, oh my gosh, that's so cool. And what a way to bring fans even more together, just the random person and talk, and it's like, okay, we're sharing and the love of Star Trek around the world. I absolutely love it. Well, let's bring in Tyler and Kristin and talk about their cosplay experience. And Kristin, what do you think of Chris's outfits there?
Okay, Chris, I am so blown away. I can't sew 2 pieces of fabric together successfully. I've accepted that. That's my lot in life. That's fine. But I think that one reason why the Borg, the one that you won for, was so not only was the construction phenomenal, but you looked like Locutus. You just full on look like Patrick Stewart as a Borg. I would have been plotting if I'd seen you IRL. So my hat's off to all of your skills. Never let that imposter syndrome tell you that you are not good enough, because you are. That I can't even. One question as a shoe person. Mm-hmm. Your boots that you were wearing in front of the Eiffel Tower and all that, is there a specific boot that you wear, or is just any black shoe, or is there one that you found mimics?
So for me personally, this is going to be actually kind of funny. It's the Strange New World boots from Fulvog. I wear them with any black boots because I like the aesthetic, and it looks futuristic, and it goes with every single one of my costumes. I wear it for TOS, TNG, Voyager. It doesn't matter to me. So I wear those boots for everything.
I love it. He's a Canadian shoe designer, so I'm gonna be a little bit, yeah. Woot. Also, you should, next time you find out that there's filming happening in Toronto, if you live close over there, you should head on up to Toronto to start walking around in your uniform and see if you get pulled in for like an extra or something.
Where have you been? You're on that.
I know, you're late, okay?
Yeah.
That's just a suggestion. Just go and wander, be like, I'm ready. I'm just put a little makeup on me, I'm good to go. But
yeah, like Chris, you brought up the best point of all. Like the one thing that I tell cosplayers, because I've cosplayed for about 10 years now, and I would say the most important thing that I tell anybody is it doesn't matter what your skill level is. If you buy it off the rack, if you have it commissioned, anything of the above, spend that extra $50 and have it tailored to you. That's number one in my book always. It's like just have it tailored, like always.
It's usually not that expensive, and some of the stuff you could just learn on YouTube and just easily hem a sleeve or take in a waist a little bit. So
absolutely.
Yeah. Well, Chris, I forgot. We have a video that I would like to play. I do apologize. So if we could play that real quick.
Thanks. Wow.
All
how
right, Chris,
that?
you were tell us about that whole process.
with the time lapse or the board itself?
Yeah, well, you were muted while the video was on, so I saw you were talking. I'm like,
I didn't know that.
What are you saying?
So that's just a quick time lapse of me doing the suit up, just so that people can see like what it takes to put into. It's a lot of questions I get is, how do you get into that? Do you need help or whatever? Obviously, I created it for me, so I knew to make it modular. So I just wanted to show people that I could do it myself and in relatively short order. Obviously, it's sped up, but it takes about 15-20 minutes to put on. So
Okay, nice.
I am glad there is air conditioning in the Rio, because that looks like it would be hot in August in Vegas to wear that.
So how much does that weigh? Because those arm pieces look quite robust.
A lot of it's plastic, so it's
okay.
It's heavy over time, but in a couple hours, it's fully manageable. Yeah.
Okay. And so you say it's plastic. Do you also use a lot of like that foam with the heat gun to mold it and stuff?
The Borg costume I made predates that skill that I had, so a lot of it's just found parts. So 95% of that stuff is just hardware store, broken down toys, motocross pieces, and a whole bunch of other stuff. So
brilliant.
Wow.
And Chris, one of your pieces that I particularly like is you mentioned earlier about the command wrap from the original series, and I can actually see it behind you. You've done different division colors, which we don't see on screen. So you must have a lot of people coming to talk to you about the science or the command version rather than the green ones that you have.
Yeah, it's just one of those. The green wrap is like my North Star favorite of any kind of costume for Star Trek. But at the time, I didn't have a source of fabric that was good enough for me to use. So I had all the division colors in the accurate nylon fabric they had. So I was like, let me start with that, and maybe one day I'll get the fabric, which I did eventually. But then I made a red wrap, a green wrap, a gold wrap, and a blue wrap as well. I do like the blue one. The blue definitely, it's got a unique look to it. It's feels within the universe, but it's never been seen. It could have been seen, but it's one of those like maybe one day they'll adapt that idea. Who knows?
Yeah. What do you think of the Strange New Worlds updated design on the Commander app? Are you a fan?
I like that they incorporated that idea. I personally would have implemented it a little differently, but yeah, it's a little too formal. It feels like it should be a little less of a formal thing with no shoulder pads or whatnot. So, but that's just my perspective on it.
So, Chris, you did mention that, you have been commissioned. Do you have a place in case any of our viewers are interested in working with you?
I do. It's very far and few between, and it's kind of a very selective process. But I do have an Etsy. It's a Prime Directive design, and I'll have people message me, and if our goals align and my time aligns, then I'll be able to do it for you.
Wonderful. Oh my gosh, Chris, thank you so much for sharing your amazing technique and talent with us and our viewers.
Thanks.
Yes. No problem. Thanks for having me. Appreciate it.
Thanks. We'll see you a little later in the show. Thanks, Chris.
Okay.
Right, okay. I think it's time for us to take a very short break and hear from the network. So we'll see you very soon.
What shows are on BQN, you ask? Well, here's a rundown of some podcasts you might be interested in. All Good Things, a Star Trek Universe podcast covering all of Trek, hosted by Amy, Christos, Kelvin, and Kristin. Whether you've got Xbox or Nintendo, check out Bargain Bin Gamer, a YouTube show hosted by Davey and Mitch, self-proclaimed gamers who specializes in reviewing and showcasing affordable video games. Grab your popcorn as you listen to Cinema Z, a film discussion and review podcast showcasing films you probably missed but should definitely check out, hosted by Mark and Matt. Don your apron for The Food Replicator, where Matthew eats and drinks his way through Star Trek Cocktail and 3 cookbooks. Beam Aboard Galaxy Class, a Star Trek Next Generation podcast covering all of TNG, hosted by Steven. In order to not repeat it, listen to History with the Szilagys, a snippet of historical events from around the world, hosted by Chrissy and Jason. For the newest Trek coverage, check out Infinite Diversity, hosted by Chrissy and Thad. Curl up with a good book and delve into beta canon with Peter, host of the Trek Book Club on Twitter and Bluesky, and his companion Trek Book Club podcast. Test your Trek knowledge with Treksperts Quiz, a Star Trek quiz show hosted and written by Davey and MC. If you're a member of Starfleet Federation or Planetary Union, go check out Union Federation, covering current Star Trek and the Orville, which we all know is really a Trek show, hosted by Kyle, Kevin, Amy, and Haley. Head over to YouTube and watch the Viewscreen live on Sundays, your Trek-inspired talk show hosted by Kelvin and Amy, with new 8-week seasons in the spring and fall. Spill the tea with Christos while he discusses current Trek news and events and explores the world of fandom via guest interviews, all with an LGBTQIA+ perspective on What's the Tea Bev. And for our patron members, we have the Hive Mind with script readings and roundtable discussion, It's Green, a cornucopia of topics, then Amy's Math Moments, a quick look at math moments in Star Trek. You can keep up with all of these shows by following the network at BQN Podcasts on Instagram and Bluesky. We know you have a choice of podcasts to choose from, and we thank you for listening to BQN. Assimilate the audio.
Welcome back to the view screen. So I think it's time to get on and bring in our final guest for the day. So let's welcome back Tyler. Hey,
Hey,
Tyler.
hello.
Hi. Well, first of all, thank you for going into your office on a Sunday to facilitate this, to get some good internet signal. We really appreciate you working for us today.
Oh, I tell you, I needed to come in here anyway. I'm going to Washington D.C. tomorrow, so I had to pack up my goodies, so I had to do that. So this is perfect.
It's a beautiful background, getting to see all the cars drive past, the people walk by. It's lovely.
So this is So I live in Warrensburg, Missouri, which is right outside of Kansas City, and so my big boy job is that I work at the University of Central Missouri. Go Mules! And so this right outside here is what we call Selmo Park, and so we have a lot of gatherings and happenings out there, and so this is kind of our main drag right here. So yeah, it's a great office for sure.
Nice. Well, one of the things we love about the Viewscreen, me and Amy, is that we get to bring our friends on and have a chat. And obviously, it's great to see you. We don't see you anywhere near enough as me.
Not near enough. No way.
I know. But it gets us the opportunity to hear a little more about what people's, either your passions, your work. And I was really fascinated by this kind of representation work that you do in your kind of your other job, shall we say. So the kind of, when you spend time with artists, chaperoning at conventions, when we were on the cruise last year, you introduced us to Gabrielle, who you were with for the day. So yeah, my
girl Gabrielle.
Oh, there she is.
My girl. Yeah.
She's very close to your heart today.
That's my girl right there. That's
Yeah, so we wanted to hear a little more about how you got involved in this kind of work and what it entails. So yeah, tell us a little more about it, Tyler.
So it kind of happened by accident. So my best friend, Madison Spencer Engel, who a lot of you know, she's the best Beverly Crusher I've ever seen.
Yes, agreed.
So we went to a little convention together in Topeka, Kansas, of all places, in the Kansas agricultural hub of the Midwest. So we went there, and of all people, Tracy Coco was there, who a lot of people know as Lieutenant J. She was a background extra on Star Trek: The Next Generation. Was in 3 of the movies and got exploded out of the chair in Generations. So she's wonderful. And she came up to me and she said, "Oh my God, I love your stuff on Facebook. Like I would love some help with my social media. Can you help me?" And I was like, "Okay." Like, yeah, like of course, I'm happy to help you. Like, you're a big part of my life. So of course I'll help you. And so I started doing her socials, her Facebook, her Twitter, her Instagram, and all that good stuff. Just trying to, keep her up in the stratosphere of social media, which back when Twitter was a thing, you always had to stay on top of the trend and also all those things. So, and she got a new agent, and the agent decided that he liked what I was doing, and the agent took me with him. Wow. And so I started doing marketing, social media, press releases, just kind of on the side. Like, I'm still working and, have my big boy job and all that good stuff. But on the side, I'm doing this, and I'm really enjoying it. Like, I'm really liking it. Like, I'm enjoying writing the biographies for these celebrities that they represent, and, helping with their socials, because a lot of them will be the first to tell you they don't like social media. They like to be in the moment. They like to be present. They're artists. They don't like to be brought down into the, bowels of, when it was called Twitter. So, not good for their mental zeitgeist. So that's why they have us. And then after a while, this company took on another client called Cool Waters Productions, LLC, based out of Burbank, Los Angeles area. It's been in the business for 26 years now. It was founded by Derek Mackey. A lot of people have seen Derek. They probably don't know Derek, but they've probably seen him walking around conventions. He's the one with the best looking far out jackets that you've seen. He's a taller guy, and usually with his husband, Alberto, who is always with the one and only Doug Jones. And they will be also the ones to tell you that they don't like social media either. And so they wanted someone to run the company's social media. And this was at a point where the agency really wasn't going anywhere. Nothing was happening. I managed to sit down with Derek and Alberto in Las Vegas. And they said, "Oh, you're the ones that are doing all this and helping us." And I said, "Yeah." And they said, "Do you want to work for us?" I said, yes, I would. And so I just started doing socials at the time. And so that's the extent of what it was at the time. And then COVID happened. And so we were all stuck inside, and I was seeing Kelvin and Amy once a week on our weekly Zooms, which
Thinking very heavily.
saved us. And Derek said, well, we're not traveling anywhere. The business is kind of not great because we thrive on in-person interactions. We want to start a virtual convention. It's called an in-house con. So people can sit at home and they can watch their, favorite actors. And we did theme days and all that good stuff. So I was tech guy Tyler. And so I was running all of the Zooms. I was, when we did one-on-one chats, I would, control the waiting room and let people in one at a time and talk to the celebrities and things like that. So
Wow.
that was my deal. So yes, that's it, Peter. Yeah. Cool Waters Productions. They did all those Trek interviews at the start of the pandemic. So we did Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, we did Star Wars, we did Hellboy, we did all kinds of themed ones, so we could appeal to everybody, because Derek represents well over 100 clients from all different walks of life. Oh yeah, the game show. That's something that Derek loves to do, and I get to help him write the trivia for the game show. So because he likes to have people know all about the clients. It's one thing to know Doug Jones on stage as Saru, but did you know he's done like 300,000 other things besides that? So, it's fun to go into the depths of IMDb and figure out these little, nuggets and tidbits. And so we were doing that, and then we started going on the road again, finally, after what seemed like a lifetime. And Derek asked me if I would go with and start kind of proving my worth on the road too. And, the thing about this world and thing about working with conventions and with celebrities and so forth, there is a great deal of trust involved. Mm-hmm. And there's a great deal of confidentiality, and, you have to be comfortable with the people you're working with, because, there's a lot of money being exchanged here. And, there's a lot of fans here. Some of them are more passionate than others. And so they really want their time with their favorite actor, their favorite actress, and so forth. And so you have to kind of be their sometimes protector and make sure that no one's monopolizing them. You're keeping people moving along and so forth. And that's, that requires a lot of trust and rapport and a lot of camaraderie. And so that takes time. And so the first thing that I ever did was, I don't know if we have our photos.
Yes.
You can bring those. That was my first job right there. My first in-person thing. We were at a convention called House of Mouse. It was right outside of Disney. And we were helping this. It's literally mom and pop convention. It's run by a husband and wife.
Wow.
And they said, can we need more vendors? Can you bring a booth? And they're like, yes, of course. And so Derek brought a whole bunch of products from all the people he represents. So you can see on there, like, I don't know, from left to right, you can see Funkos, you can see Robbie Benson, we represent for Beauty and the Beast, and Billy D. Williams, who Derek has worked with exclusively for over 30 years. Harrison Ford, Pat Carroll from The Little Mermaids, all these wonderful people. And so I was in the other room selling product. And so that was, that was sort of my way of making sure that they know that they can trust me, because that's thousands of dollars worth of product there. And, it can walk away at the drop of a hat. So, and we were very fortunate. People love the Disney stuff. So, and of course, Disney is now Star Wars. So, and Star Wars is now Disney. So, but that was my first gig. And then I started moving on to, working with clients directly. So this is at Trek Long Island, and this is some of the Cool Waters family. That's Derek on the ends there on the left. That is, and then going left to right, that's Kavita Maharaj of Retro.
Who we have had on the show.
She is fabulous, and I love her. Her aura is
brilliant.
What I would imagine what meeting Elvis would have felt like. Because she's so artsy and just very, very brilliant. And I adore her too. Gabrielle Ruiz, who played Talin on Lower Decks, and of course, Crazy Ex-Girlfriend. I work with Gabrielle a lot. She's just a lovely, sweet, kind, she's a mom. She's a great, just a wonderful mom and everything. So it's such a joy to have been with her on her very first convention, which was the Star Trek cruise, and then we've just worked together steadily ever since, just kind of being her person. So, and she's a good friend. Elias Tufexis, who played Locke on Star Trek Discovery, awesome dude. I'm going to see him next week in Minneapolis for an anime convention because he's done hundreds of video games. Janet Kidder, who is actually the niece of Margot Kidder, who played Lois Lane in Superman. So that's her niece and very spitting image of Margot. Then Tara Rosling, who plays President Tillin on Discovery. And that's Alberto. That's Derek's husband. And he's always with Dougie. He's always with Doug Jones and a lot of other clients that he's gotten to know over the years. Orville Cummings there at the top there. He's also on Discovery. And then myself. And then Michelin Sisti, who played a Ferengi on Next Generation. And then he was also in the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtle films. So so we go, we're kind of all over the spectrum. So and it's always fun. And when we all go together, like as a big group like that, Derek tries to work with these conventions to sell a big package of folks. So you have not just one client from Star Trek, but multiple from Star Trek. So it brings more people in to say, oh, wow, I can get all 7 of these folks on my Discovery poster or, all that good stuff. So it works out for the convention and works out for us too, as a company.
Yeah.
Brilliant.
Oh my gosh. This was in Star Trek Las Vegas last year. By a turn of events, Gabrielle was shooting a film and she was kind of short on time to bring her new daughter, Vivian, back to the East Coast where she lives. And so we all said, bring her to Vegas. Like, she will be the star of that convention. And she really was. And so that is my brother from another mother. That's William there, who not a lot of you know, just sort of holding there and so forth. And so Gabrielle was just eating it up because she didn't have to hold Vivian for a while. So it was great. And then one of the other gentlemen that I got to work with, it was such an honor to work with him at a convention on the East Coast. That's Julian Glover. And so Julian was the villain in Indiana Jones and the Last Crusades, the one that chose poorly. He was General Veers in Star Wars The Empire Strikes Back. He was also in Game of Thrones. He was the guy that did this all the time. I forget the character name, but he's been in everything. And so he's such a fabulous individual. So, and he's a very spry in his almost in his 9th decade now. So he's very spry for his age. So he was wonderful to work with. He said I was fab, which that is what you go for. So anyway, so I'm sorry. I hope I'm not going too fast or anything.
No, not at all.
So these are just some of my, I told Amy last night, I have 55 images, and she said, okay, pick 12. Because I've done this for so many years now. It's like I'm so bad about taking pictures at these things because I'm always working, but I'm also trying to put things on social media too and so forth. So I'm trying to, appeal to the best of both worlds. So this was at a toy convention in Knoxville, Tennessee, Fanboy Expo, or it's the same folks that own Fanboy Expo. And so this is a wonderful little toy convention they put on. And so I had the great fortune of working with 2 of the puppeteers that created Grogu. And so they designed Grogu's costume that you see there and helped work the little, the arms and the legs and so forth, because Grogu is mostly puppetry, or nearly all puppetry. So it was such a joy to work with them, and the fans just love meeting them. And Derek really goes out of his way to find these sort of puppeteers and animatronics folks and say, you need to come out and meet these folks, because these are the one, they don't know it yet, but they want to know you, because they have the best stories, and they're the ones that are on the set the longest. They're the ones that have the longest hours, and they have, they have awesome stories. And so, and especially Tamara and Dawn, who have become buddies as well. Like, they're super sweet, love meeting the fans. They're Grogu collectors. Like, they will they will say, "Can we leave the table now and go shop?" I'm like, "Yes." Go shop. They want to find everything Grogu because they're fans too, and so they want to find everything related to the things that they've created. And they've worked on Ahsoka, they've worked on Book of Boba Fett, they worked on all of those ones because Disney works with the same creature shop for all these series, and so it's it's pretty good work if you can get it. And so, and that's working with Julian there. He got to sign several grails through the weekend. So, and Julian is such an English gentleman because he never tired of telling the same story 15 times. So, and just saying he chose poorly. It's like, oh, I've never heard that one before. That's very so it was such a thrill to work with him. So it was just such a nice guy. That was, and that's what that's the in-house con that I talked about. That's the first Star Trek one that we did. So Patrick Kwok-Chun, Hannah Cheeseman, the one and only Dougie Jones, Raven Dowda, who played Dr. Pollard, of course, Derek Mackey, and then Sam Bartholomew's from the first season. He came on as a special guest, and he got to show us some of the fun stuff that Brian Fuller and the team gave him for his sort of 3 episodes he did in the very first season. And he said, "Do you guys have any interest in this stuff? Like, these are sketches and things of like the Shenzhou." And he's like, "I don't know what to do with them. I don't know if I want to recycle them." And we're all like, "No, are you out of your mind?" So some fan will give you a lot of money for those. So please don't ever throw those away. But that was fun. And we had hundreds of people listening to those and watching those. So that was a lot of fun to do. And okay, so the one on the left here, so these are the ones and the views that you really don't get to see, because sort of that behind the scenes, sort of making sure that you have enough product on the table, keeping the pens there, so making sure that every customer gets exactly the color they want, the placement they want, and so forth, because a lot of these folks are casual fans. They want to come and meet the folks that mean a lot to them. You also have a lot of collectors that will come and they'll bring their own pens. They have lithographs. They have posters they've worked on for 20 plus years. Like I myself am working on a Star Trek Generations poster that I have worked on for 3 years now, slowly getting all of the cast and crew from all these different things. And so, every customer deserves the very best experience possible, because something that I've known, because I've been going to conventions for 15 years now, is that I have seen every type of chaperone and handler and manager under the sun, the very pleasant ones and the ones that are not quite so pleasant. And so I've taken lessons on what to do and what not to do. And so I believe in giving people the best experience possible, because I don't know how their day is going. These conventions are overwhelming, especially Star Trek Las Vegas, where there's tens of thousands of us wandering around in this vendor's room and in the main hall and so forth. So whenever someone comes up, "Hi, how are you? Are you having a good day?" And, it's as simple as that. It's being kind. It's like, I'm never far away from those, the Pop Culture Hero Coalition, and be kind,
Yes.
It's that simple, because you never know what day they're having.
So I'm just looking at this picture on the left, and the guy wearing the Captain Pro, that is totally my friend, Michael Lipper. Hi. Oh my gosh, that's funny.
I did not even notice.
And he, like you said, he has collections of autographs, on a poster that, and he lives out in Massachusetts. And so he comes to SCLV with his tubes and, pristine, and lays out posters and has them signed in this spot. So you're describing many, many fans for sure. And I appreciate that you think about logistically, what is it that will make the experience even better or run smoother? That forethought is beautiful, and kudos to you for that.
And it can make or break an experience as well if someone's rude, or if you don't get the right amount of time because someone else is taking that time up. Do you ever have to deal with people who are just completely starstruck and they just can't speak, or try and encourage the conversation a little bit to
I'll give you an example. I'll give you an example of the beautiful lady on the right there, Rachel Antrell, who is one of my favorite people on the planet. She played Non on Star Trek Discovery in season 2, 3, 4, and 5. And she works with us now, and this was her very first show on the right. And so this was at a Winona Earp convention. And so this is a show that was on Netflix for, I don't know, 3, 4 seasons, canceled. And this is the most passionate, engaged, beautiful fan base I have ever seen. Like, and I'm a diehard Trekker. Don't get me wrong. These are my people. I love my people, but these Earpers are on such another level. They are, it is the whole rainbow. I mean, everyone is welcome in this wonderful universe. I mean, every combination and thing you can think of, like everyone is welcome in the Earp world. And so Rachel had never done a show before, and she had been highly requested by these folks. And so they said, and Derek said, Tyler, you're really good with these people. You need to go up. You need to be with her. And it was such a magical weekend. Like, and it was, and that fan base is primarily women, and which I was one of the only men in that entire convention hall, which made me feel amazing. With so many powerful women, which is wonderful. That's where I'm supposed to be. And I mean, folks were just so happy that she was there, so happy, in tears, and just so happy and laughing, and just sort of, and then we started to develop our own banter, Rachel and I. So she and I are big fans of the show Fawlty Towers, which is, the greatest comedy series of all time. And so we started to treat each other as Basil and Mrs. Fawlty. I think she's more of a Polly, but she fancies herself as Mrs. Fawlty. So, and she and I would start to, make each other laugh and just keep up the banter and so forth. So it would make the customer feel more at ease, like they're taking part in this moment between Rachel and her, whoever's with her at the time, which was me. And it's just a magical thing, especially when you develop a rapport with some of these actors, and then you start to get to know their mannerisms, and when they need a break, when it's time to end the conversation and so forth. Like it's you start to get to know them. Like it's like working with the Queen, James, James has met the Queen,
indeed, yeah,
who was alive. And, she has her signals, the handbag goes to the other arm. That means it's time to move on and end the conversation. So it's, you get to know those mannerisms. And so then it's time to bring them to the green room and give them a break before their next grab. So
it's like a safe word.
It's like a safe word, truly. Yeah. It's, banana. Oh, it's time to go find a banana. All right. But yeah, those are fun little things like that. And Rachel's such a sweetheart. I'm going to see her at Trek Long Island next 2 months from now. So Long Island is a fabulous convention. I've gone every year, and so it's just a wonderful place to be. Peter, Peter, I will see you there. It's such a great convention. I'll be there with Rachel and Patrick Kwok-Chun. Okay. So it's going to be great. It's going to be a nice weekend.
Next.
Oh yes. So this was in Sioux Falls, South Dakota, and I got to work with the one and only Walter Koenig.
Wow.
So Mr. Chekhov was there, and so Walter is, oh my gosh, like he's been doing these longer than I've been alive, and so he knows what he's doing. He knows what he likes, and so this was in South Dakota, so different crowd of folks, but very friendly, very kind. And so Walter just sort of did his thing, and it was just fun. It was just fun to watch him work because he's on the older side. So, there's no getting around that. And so you can pick up on the mannerisms pretty quick. It's like I'd like to let's move on. So it's very and he knows exactly what photos he likes. He knows he's very specific in what he likes, and so. It's such a nice, and it was so nice to get to know him. And I have this, I don't know if it's a unique ability or not, but I don't get starstruck. Mm-hmm. I rarely get starstruck. Like, I was starstruck when I met William Shatner for the first couple of times, and then sort of, and now it's Bill, hey Bill, and because the thing that I have to remember is that these are people like everybody else. It's like, they have to eat, they've got to go drink, they've got to, they need sleep like everybody else. So that was great. And then going to a drag show with him was fun too. So we all, this fall, this convention in Sioux Falls, South Dakota, they put on a giant drag show during it. So it's their way of expressing, who they are and what they're all about. And coming there with our Cool Waters crew and sitting there, the promoter came to us and said that meant more than anything we could have done all weekend. You guys sitting there and watching this. So that was awesome. Yeah. And then this was the gentleman on the left is Deep Roy. He played, he's been in a lot of things. Never Ending Story, a lot of Tim Burton movies. Played the Oompa Loompas in Charlie and the Chocolate Factory. Keitzer, I believe is his name, in the Star Trek movies, the Kelvin universe movies. Stellar guy, and just a lovely person. And he's always very cognizant about his paint pens, and always telling folks when they come to the table, let it dry. Let it dry. Let it dry. Because so many folks are so happy to see him, and he gets that. So he's always very cognizant of, let this dry, please. Ask me some questions. Let this dry. That's the worst feeling, is when you walk away from a table and, you throw your 8x10 in the bag, and then something happens and it's, oh no, the ink is smeared and, day ruined. So he's very cognizant of that, and he loves to regale and talk about Leonard Nimoy and talk about Tim Burton and all these great things. So he's just glad to travel. Like he's just one of those, he's just a stellar dude to hang out with. And so it was always very nice to work with him. The lady on the right is one of my favorite people on the planet, Sarah Douglas. Sarah played Ursa in the original Superman movies, and she was also in Conan, along with many other things. I forget the name of it. The one with the cult following with the red jumpers, the red jumpsuits, but it's not Star Trek. It'll come to me. But yes. But she is absolutely I work with a lot of beautiful and powerful women. And so that's, as a gay dude, that really, it helps. And she's just a delight to hang out with. And, she has, wonderful helpers that help her out, props to Eli over in England that helps run her social media and her websites. And so it's just always such a joy to work with her, and to, and most of the things that people bring for her are Superman things, but she always gets elated when people bring in something from Swamp Thing or any of the horror movies that she's done over the years, or something from Supergirl. She was on an episode of Supergirl back in the day. So it's just lovely. And then the meals that we share together are always so special. So it's just a joy, always a joy with her. Oh yes, this is at Trek Long Island. This was a fun one. So this is Fumziel. Fumziel was in season 3 and 4 of Discovery. She was not one of the military general leader of Earth. Oh, and so she was lovely. That was the very first poster / autograph she had signed at a show. And so part of being a good person, like promoter or a handler, manager, whatever, is capturing those special moments. And so I was cognizant, like, oh my gosh, this is the very first one that she's ever signed. And so you always got to capture those special moments. So, and she was surprised too, the lady there. She was like, oh my God, this is your first? Yes. She's like, this is my first ever signing an autograph. Yes.
Well, that makes it more special for the recipients as well, because then that's the story they can say. I was the first ever autographee.
Exactly. That's exactly right. So
thoughtful, Tyler. Like, you think of everything. I can see why you are successful, and Cool Waters found you. Yes.
And they're all so much more than clients. They're family. So it's that chosen family. It's like you guys are chosen family. Yeah. And there's my Cool Waters family. So it's just we talk, we send each other funny memes and things like that. So I always try to send Rachel a Faulty Towers meme whenever I see her. So since Canada's going through a lot up there, like we are down here, and so Faulty Towers always continues to make us laugh. So
If I ever meet her at a convention now, I'm just going to think of Sybil Faulty.
Sybil, just tell her anything Faulty Towers and she will lose it. This was the end of the weekend with Deep Roy. That was fun. Yeah, just a cool dude. Just, he's like, come on here, sit right here. Just he's someone you just want to go and have a pint with. He's that kind of guy. And that's who you want to meet. You want to meet the ones that, oh yeah, I'd love to have a beer with this guy. So that's deep. And so here's an example of sort of how our tables go. And so what we do is, Derek has done this for so long that he likes things in a particular way, which is his right. It's his company and it's his product. And so what we do is, for all of the 8x10 photos that you see there, instead of having them all out on the table, like a lot of celebrities and companies will do, we actually laminate one. And then we tape it to the table there. And then we have people, and then we number them. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And then people will come up to the table and I'm like, hello, what can I do for you? And they're like, I would love a number 3. I was like, excellent, perfect. And so that saves all of our product from getting bent, because those photos are not cheap. And, especially the good high glossy photos. And so that way it sends all of that. So how many tables of photos does Doug have versus the average convention guest? Doug has 18 tables worth of things. Dougie has a good 2 full, 8-foot long tables full of product, because he has done everything. He's done Hellboy and Hocus Pocus and Shape of Water and so many things that I'm forgetting, but he has done so many things and he has so many Funkos. I think he still holds the record of the number of Funkos that he has for someone. And so I think it's 12 or 13 Funkos that he has. And wow. so we move a lot of Funkos. So those are always great. Some of the fun things that I'll see, like people will bring in models of ships, they'll have them sign the hulls of ships. They'll bring in, I was looking, while the news was being delivered earlier, while I was catching up on the Star Trek news of the week, I saw that Master Replicas is doing a 15-inch full-scale dedication plaque for the original Enterprise. And so I'm like, yeah, I've got to get that. Like, I must have that. Because, Shatner might do a convention here soon. And so that would be perfect for him to sign. So yeah, that's how we do our tables. And we always try to, appeal to our guests and to our customers. So we try to take cards whenever we can. Because a lot of celebrities are cash only. So we try to appeal to being in a digital world, and some places have gone cashless. So, and that's something that we have to be cognizant of.
Good.
Brilliant.
Yeah. And that's Fumziel and Raven at Truck Long Island. So those are wonderful hanks. Those are great people to be around. I would say the Discovery cast is always, those are the ones to meet. And I don't just say that because we represent a lot of them, but because they're just genuinely kind people. I don't know if it's because they're all Canadians or if it's just, but they're just genuinely sweet, wonderful people. And I'm sure folks that are watching would probably say the same thing for the ones that we've met. It's like Sonequa is, by far the greatest, hugger, and she's the most personable. And Dougie, of course, gives the best hugs in the world. And just on down, like they all are just very sweet, kind, wonderful people. Every client that we have is sweet and wonderful, but especially those disco folks, like those are the ones you just want to, let's go hang, let's go do this. Oh yes, that's my girl Gabrielle. That was her very first convention ever. She had just had Vivian. She had just given birth. And she said, Mama's got to work. So she went on the cruise, and she has a wonderful husband at home that played a great caregiver while she was out working. And someone gave her a Vulcan as a mofo t-shirt. So she ate that up for all it was worth. And so that was awesome. It's just one of those candid moments you got to capture. The one on the right, Derek put together a fabulous tour of the haunted sites of Salem and where they filmed Hocus Pocus. And so that's me and Dougie right there at the bottom holding a Billy Butcherson hat or head right there. And the lady in the leather pants on Dougie's right, your left, that's Amanda Shepard, who played Emily Binks, the one that got sort of drained at the beginning of the movie. So so that's, always kind of fun stuff. And we were doing a convention about 30-45 minutes away, and so we just said, let's put together a tour and have the greatest Hocus Pocus fan experience ever. And it was, for sure.
Wow. So amazing. Let's bring in Chris and Kristin. And I'm going to ask Chris, how are you around stars? And I mean, you had your picture taken with the Enterprise crew and yours. Does that give you confidence to do, or are you just a natural and go talk to anyone?
For me, I don't get starstruck. Like Tyler said, it's just not in my nature.
It's a skill. It's like a skill.
I do have a question for you, Tyler. I just don't know how to, since I'm not an autograph person, nor do I engage in that sphere. I don't personally like to go to their table if I'm not buying anything. Is it okay
Or
to
is
say
it like
hello?
frowned upon almost?
Greet them and move on, or do you have to buy something, or does that come off as
very fair question. Very fair question. I can't speak for all celebrities in the room, but as far as Cool Waters go, people get in line for a hug or just to say hello. Absolutely. Like, we're all about that. And Dougie always says on his social medias, like, it's hugs are free. So whenever you see a Cool Waters banner, get in line. Like, that's, even if I'm not there, like, it's just, just come say hello. Like, that's why they're there.
Yeah. I mean, I kind of actively, even when there's no lines, I kind of just like, I don't want to bother them. I'm not going to buy a picture, so I don't want to, take away from their time. But like you said, Doug actually came to talk to me, even though like I'm like, I kind of avoid like, going to tables. He came in and conversated with me, which is just atypical from what I
And Rachel will be like that too. Like, she will. She has at Vegas last year. She had a little collection of Earpers, and they had scraped together enough funds to get there just for her, like just to come and see her. And so she went out of her way to make sure that they had the best experience possible. So, and again, that doesn't happen every time, but for Cool Waters, we're just kind of, we like to think we're the best, and. And that's why celebrities are there. It's to engage with fans and interact, and of course to make money and continue their make a living. But yeah, get in line, Chris. Absolutely. Just come shake the hand and say, I just wanted to say hello, meet you, and check out what I'm wearing.
And Kristin, there was a lot of shout outs for Canada in Tyler's message there.
Can't be upset about that. Tyler, are there any good conventions coming up north?
Oh gosh. Well, if you want to head down to Long Island, Trek Long Island is happening very soon. Let's see. Oh gosh. If you go to coolwatersproductions.com, we have our entire calendar up as far as where our celebrities are and so forth. And I do my best to advertise when they're coming, but there are and I don't mean this in an immodest way. There are so many conventions that are happening. Like, sometimes it's hard to stay on top of it. Like, if there's a website that I check, because I too am a fan, and I was at Planet Comic-Con yesterday. I met Anne Margaret yesterday, of all people, and then I also met Christopher Lloyd, because I wanted him on my Klingon Funko. That's one of the things that I've had my eye on for a long time. So there's a site called Comic-Conicon, not Comic Chameleon, but it's a roster of different fandoms and different genres and so forth, and you can track where all these celebrities are going to be.
Awesome.
And you can track it by movie or TV series and so forth. So I'm continuing my Generations poster, and so I'm trying to find like Alan Ruck and like Jacqueline Kim and so forth, because I got to get the Enterprise B crew on the poster now too. So it's like I'm watching all the time. But
Awesome.
Brilliant. Tyler, thank you so much for coming on. You're long overdue as well, much like Chris. We've wanted you on the show for so long. While we've got everyone on screen now, let's do a little quick run through of where people can find you online if they want to continue the discussion. So, Tyler, how are people best engaging with you on socials?
Oh, on my handle is all the same on the Instagram, on the threads, and on the sky that is blue. So I'm there on all of them, and you can always Facebook me too, Tyler Habiger, but RT Habiger is the best way.
Brilliant. Thanks so much for coming on, Tyler.
Yes.
Really great having you. See you later. And Chris, how about yourself? Where can people find you online?
I am on Instagram, Chris.1701D, and I have a YouTube channel, Prime Directive Design, where I show my builds and that type of process stuff. So.
Excellent. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
See you soon, Chris. See you in Vegas.
Yes.
And Kristin, remind everybody where they can find you.
I'm on Instagram at kstrats, and then of course I'm on Reddit at Garrick's Fan Club. So those are the best places to hit me up.
Brilliant. Thanks so much. We'll see you again next week. Thanks, Kristin.
See you next week. Bye.
And Amy, where can people find you?
Well, you can listen to me on Union Federation. Oh, it's also on YouTube. They're putting it up there as well. So Union Federation on the Fandom Podcast Network. And I am on our Discord server, which I've posted pictures throughout the week. It's been really fun. On our BQN Facebook group, BQN Collective. And I am also on Bluer Skies at Counselor Amy. And Kelvin, where can people find you everywhere?
I can be found on most of the socials at Kelvin's Timeline, or you can come and chat in the BQN Collective Facebook group. That's where you tend to find me the most. I occasionally do dip my toe into Discord when I can remember and find time to.
Well, Kelvin, what do we have going on next week?
Next week, we are returning to our BQN showcase theme, where we show off some of the fabulous shows on the network. My name is special and soon favorite feature, because we get to be a viewer of our own show as the other shows on the network take over for a week. So we have Kevin and Joe coming on to talk about Batleth Battles. And we are delighted to welcome back Matthew, who is going to be doing up some cooking with the stars of Amy's Kitchen over from the Food Replicator. So that'll be a great, it's our penultimate show as well of the season next week.
Yes, I know. I can't believe it's almost over. Well, we would like to thank our executive producer, David, behind the scenes. So grateful for pushing all those buttons. And our amazing social media executive, Kit Zima. Thank you so much. Who else am I forgetting?
That's the
all
team.
Of our Patreon members. We don't have commercials here on BQN. So if you would like to support the network, please go to patreon.com/BQN. And we have our giveaway. If you would like our special season 3 Viewscreen comm badge, please type showbiz in the chat and I will reach out to you and you will get your own Pride comm badge.
Great stuff. Thanks, Amy. We would love to hear what you thought of today's show. We do hope that you'll join our Facebook group, the BQN Collective, or on our Discord server, and you can continue the discussion over there. You'll find the links and the invites in the show notes.
Yes, and we've gone out of order because we're running over. Okay, what else? Oh.
I think it's just time to thank everybody for tuning in, whether you're with us live. We had some great numbers today. Thanks for joining us, everybody. Thanks to all our guests for coming on. And we will be back with our penultimate episode this time next week. So our clocks go forward in the UK finally next week. So we're back to 5 p.m. from next week, not 4.
Okay, good to know. Good to know. Well, thank you, everyone.
That's all for
great
this
week.
week. It's time to end transmission.